Hi everyone, welcome back. Welcome to the Active Knowledge series, The Practice of Non-Greed in Business. This is chapter 2, the second of the introductory sessions, which I hope will give you a foundation in what we mean by the practice of non-greed and help you to begin to adopt that in the management and leadership of your business. Before we step into chapter 2, I just wanted to draw some of the aspects of chapter 1 forward, just to begin to give us that reference point again. The practice of non-greed is referring to a practice which is performance-centric, the creation of performance-centric businesses or organizations, ones which are focused on performance, ones which seek to understand and identify the catalysts of that performance and begin to invest in those and to lift those. And not necessarily investment in dollars, but investment in what you believe is important. In the practice of non-greed, you're seeking to have a firm grasp of the core competitiveness of your organization. What allows us to do what we do better than anyone else? What allows us to step out, to evolve, to create, to make things new and better? Where is this core competitiveness and how do we tap into that? And how does that become the engine for our success? The practice of non-greed is not anti-profit. Profits are essential for the growth, sustainability and development of a business and the meeting of its customers' needs today and into the future. However, there's a catch. As you begin to put profit to the forefront and you seek to use profit to motivate people as the motive, you begin to undermine performance, you begin to weaken performance, you begin to neutralize and disperse that potential which exists, that capability which exists, and you'll actually end up earning less profit than you otherwise could or would if you actually lent into a non-greed approach to leading your business. Profit is merely an outcome. It is not a catalyst of performance. It is an outcome, one of the outcomes of performance. So we're going to lean into performance. We want to understand what actually creates the performance within our organization and use that as the focus of everything which we do. It requires a bit of faith. It requires a bit of faith in yourself, in your leadership team, in the capability of your organization, that you can release that potential which is there and allow that to begin to take the business forward. That can become challenging in some leadership teams. So we're about creating a performance-centric organization, one which is focused on the catalyst of performance, which monitors the health, the well-being, and the strength of those catalysts, and is continually seeking to renew, restore, and build those. Profit becomes an outcome of that. Non-greed is about leaning into, identifying, and bringing to the forefront real performance, real potential, real talent of everyone. That's what we're seeking to achieve. Where is performance? Where does it reside? How do you continue to improve it? And what are the elements of this engine you're talking about? Before I step into that, I just want to give you a bit of an origin story, if I can use that term. So where did this approach of non-greed come from? Where did this language of core competitiveness come from? How you identified what are the elements of what you're calling this engine? And it goes back to my PhD, to my doctoral thesis, my study there some 20 odd years ago, and the work I've done in applying that and developing that. And my PhD was a triangulation. One of the arms was basically business management, MBA. So in the contemporary Western world, what do we say performance is about? What do we say strategic management is about? What are we teaching our people through the MBA courses, for example? That's only about 60 years old. It's quite new. Then on the other side of this triangulation was, well, let's speak to our key business leaders, the ones who have been highly successful over a number of years. Let's just understand when you speak to them about competitiveness and strategy, what's the language they use? How do they make their businesses competitive and how do they develop strategy? And then there's the foundation, and the foundation becomes very important. And the foundation was a study of classical Chinese works on strategy, which is basically a study of building communities, building nations. It's a nation building study. And it was that foundation which allowed me to look at the two other arms of the triangulation and say, so how does all this come together into a core? And that core became what I described as the competitive engine, which is the engine which drives this practice of non-greed. So there was 8 works which I studied, which you can see coming up on the screen for those who may be interested in that. They covered the period about 1100 BC to 100 AD, so about 1200 years of applied philosophy. In other words, practical experience and wisdom being distilled so it can be passed on through generations. And some 3,000 years later, it is still very valued. That was the foundation. So from that foundation, from those classical Chinese works, were there any key messages? And the answer is yes. 5 key elements. So when you lean into those and you begin to say, so what allowed you to build this nation? What allowed you to win this battle? What allowed you to bring these hundreds of thousands of people, troops, together and to drive forward? What was your approach? What were the foundation stones? 5 elements. 3 critical, 2 are an extension. Leadership, cause and trust. Leadership, cause and trust. Is my organization led by worthy leaders? And worthy leaders we'll get into, but worthy leaders rest in character. Who, as an individual, as a person, am I putting in a leadership position? Where is your heart? Where are your strengths? Second one, cause. Do I actually have a righteous cause? Is there a cause which people would commit themselves to? Is there a cause which will allow them to lean in and to step forward? In our language today, we would say this is about purpose, it's about motive, it can be about vision also. The third one, trust. And it's trust, integrity, and loyalty. Can I trust my leaders? It's not about can I trust my people, can I trust my leaders? Because it is the leadership team seeking to engage a community. Can that community trust me and my intent? And that becomes a language, I believe, of relationships and a language of culture. Foundations, leadership, cause, trust, and then extending out of that, the other 2, strategy, the creation of the strategy, the competitive strategy, and motivation. How do I inspire and draw the best out of people? So there's those 5 elements. It is those 5 elements which you'll see coming into the competitive engine at the very core. As you begin to step into this and you begin to look at this competitive engine, I want you to see it not as something which is mechanical, I press a button and this happens, but rather organic and continually evolving, continually shifting, continually moving. I want you to think about it in a health context. What is the health of my organization? Are we competitively fit? Are we strong? Where are we weak? Are there any illnesses? Is there something that needs to be strengthened? Something that needs to be corrected? And you think of this competitive engine in terms of the strength, the competitive strength which you can create. But most importantly, organic. So the practice of non-greed is about seeing your organization as an organic entity. And how am I going to strengthen that so it can achieve the purpose which I'm seeking to achieve? So everyone is committed and leaning in. So let's step forward. Let's begin to talk about competitive strength in organizations. It does not matter what your organization does, what your business does, what activity you are leaning into. It does not matter what assets you own, whether it's location, whether it's tangible assets in some other form. It does not matter what IP you have. It doesn't matter how smart your robotics are. It does not matter how good your artificial intelligence is and where that may go to. The competitive strength of your organization lies in its people. In a traditional term, we would say our employees. That has changed quite a lot. So it is everyone working within and with our organization. It is the talent and the commitment and the contribution which they are willing to lean into our business. That is our potential. That is our competitive strength. This can be a challenging message for some leaders to say you are wholly dependent upon your people to deliver. Oh. But that's the reality. What we have not done well in the past is necessarily engage with that. And we see that resource maybe as being a cost base rather than an asset base, rather than the key to my success, and we treat it in that way. The competitive engine allows you to view that resource in a way which you can lift it up and bring that potential to the forefront. But your starting point is the competitive strength of my organization lies in its people, the talent, the energy, the contribution, the commitment, which I am able to draw from them and focus. That is my role as a leader. It's about people. There's a good way to think about the competitive engine and the core strength. And that is to think of the formation of a business and how that comes about, the formation of an organization. It starts with someone who's got an idea. The idea is typically around a need in the community. They see an opportunity, they see an unmet need, and they believe they can meet that in a way which delivers value and is sustainable. That becomes their purpose. So I have my leader forming, I have a purpose being identified, and my motive is to meet that need. They understand that role. They then begin to connect with others in the community and they say, I'm forming a business, this is the need, will you come and join me? And people begin to join in and begin to support that because it is a good cause, it is a good need. They like the person they are working with, the leader, the founder. They believe there is a good connection there. They are a good person to work with. Remember, we're trying to build something which has strong performance. They reach out and they connect with a team of people in the community. At this stage, they're probably beginning to craft a vision. What is possible? Where can I take this to? And hopefully they're not doing it with a dollar sign, but they're seeing it in terms of the impact within the community. And then you begin to say, as they begin to engage with people and they begin to talk about the need, they begin to talk about the purpose for which they exist, they begin to talk about how they're going to deliver that value, they are crafting a culture. They're identifying who they need to be. It starts with a leader. They define a need that becomes their purpose. They connect with others in the community who want to join with them in achieving that purpose, that need. There is a bond, a relationship which is built. They begin to craft a vision of where this could go to, possibilities, hope, optimism. And they begin to emerge from that with a culture which defines how they're going to work. So think about that as you begin to look at the competitive engine, the model we're going to look to, because you'll see those elements in there. So let's look at the competitive engine, and you'll see again the model coming up. 3 parts, 10 prime independent agents or elements. And in today's session, chapter 2, we're just going to go through and touch on those lightly. As we go away from chapter 2 and into the subsequent chapters, we're going to dig into each one of them much more deeply. And you recall from chapter 1 I said, you may recognize the tags, the label put on each one of these elements, but I'm not sure you recognize the right character. And today, as we talk about what each one of these elements are, listen to the language, because these will begin to just highlight the character of each one of these elements. As I said, later on we'll dig into these much more deeply. 3 parts, 3 sets if you prefer that language, and 10 elements altogether. The core of your competitive strength, you can see, consists of 5 elements. Leadership, employees, purpose and motive, vision, and culture. Remember the story we just talked about, how a business is formed and how you view that? That becomes the core strength of your organization. Second part, the focus. Customer focus, capabilities and strategy. What is the need we're seeking to meet? What are the capabilities we're bringing to deliver value? How does that articulate itself as a competitive strategy which will allow us to win in our marketplace? Third part, the fuel. What is the rewards which we're offering to motivate and stimulate people to really lean in? And what barriers have we created, often unintentionally, which stop people from achieving those rewards? So 3 parts: core, focus, fuel, and 10 elements in there. So we're going to work our way through each one of these parts and just look briefly, lightly, at each one of the elements so you have an understanding of this model of the competitive engine, how it comes together. And hopefully begin to see how this can lift the performance of your business, your organization, as you begin to focus and lean into these. So let's start with the core. The core has 5 elements: leadership, purpose and motive, which I combine as one, employees, which I'll call relationships, vision and culture. This is core strength. If you think of a physical body, if you think of physical health, if my core is strong, everything else hangs off that. Excuse the expression, but everything does hang off that. And that core strength allows me to do many things with my arms, my legs, my back, everything else. If the core is weak, then that flows through everything else, which I do. Leadership, purpose and motive, relationships with your employees and those who work with you, vision, culture. Think of these in the context of the business coming together. Think of these in the context of perfect health. And think of these in the context, if one of these elements is weakened or deteriorating or ill, everything else gets dragged down with it. And it's one of the elements of the competitive engine when we talk about health. It's a complete health. It's a perfect health. It's a continuing growth in the health. So let's step into the core. Let's start with leadership first. Businesses are seeded by leadership. Businesses grow through leadership. Businesses deteriorate through leadership. Businesses' competitive strength is determined by leadership. And if you remember from chapter 1, when we spoke about leadership, we talked about 3 levels: the achiever, the enabler, the catalyst. As an achiever, I need to be an achiever in my life. I need to be setting goals. I need to be growing, developing myself. I need to be leaning into those and moving forward. When I can do that, then I can become an enabler. I can work with others, small teams of others, individuals, and help them begin to become an achiever, and through that enable their success. And then once I can do that, I can step out further and become a catalyst. I can set up the systems, the processes, the culture, the policies, the leadership, the strategy, the direction, the focus to allow our organization to grow on its performance, through its performance. I become a catalyst of that. The competitive engine is working at that catalyst level, that organization level. Elements of it apply for the achiever and they apply for the enabler, but that's the level we're working at. Just keep that in the back of your mind as well. Leadership is where we started with, core. Leadership provides the moral value and strength of purpose of a business. Moral value and strength of purpose. For any business to enjoy continual success, it must have worthy leaders throughout its business. Throughout its business. Worthy leadership lies in the character. Who am I? How do I treat with others? Who comes first? Customers, the organization, its people, or me? This is what we mean by character. Leadership rests in character, which regulates motive. Is my motive to compete, to bring performance of everyone to the forefront, or is my motive built around self-interest? Is it built around profit? Is it built around my bonuses, what I can take? Humility and gratitude are the foundation stones because they allow the greatest potential of everyone else to come to the forefront and be realized. Leadership provides moral value and strength of purpose because that is what engages the community and allows us to be led forward. The weakest leader sets the ceiling to your success. I'll say that again. Your weakest leader sets the ceiling to your success. And again, by weakness, we're talking about character. When we step into the chapter on leadership, we'll dig into this a lot more. So if you have someone who you would say, this is my weakest leader, they're going to drag everyone down very quickly. Once the profit motive, once self-interest gets pushed into an organization through a leader who's only interested for what they can take out, everyone gets dragged down to that base, I find. The second element of the core, purpose and motive, and they go hand in hand. The purpose I set must be reinforced by the motive. My motive must be to fulfill that purpose. This is my righteous cause. Why should I join with your organization? Purpose is the cornerstone and reference point for the existence of your business. Real competitive strength lies in that purpose, and everything builds on it. Purpose reveals opportunities, ensures alignment, and has a compounding effect. Purpose is found in meeting customer needs. What was the need I am seeking to meet? How have I articulated that need? Have I articulated that need in a way which shows me a window of opportunity? An endless window of opportunity is what purpose can do. Purpose forms the cornerstone of your business's future. It is founded in customer need and provides an enduring window for future growth and opportunities. Purpose and motive hand in hand. I am the leader, I have formed this organization, I have formed this business, I have set a purpose which is founded in customer need, but I hope articulated in a way which just opens up an enormous window for the opportunities which I can lean into. Profit is not a purpose. Profit is an outcome, one of many outcomes of fulfilling my purpose well through being competitively fit. Second element of the core, purpose and motive. The third element, what I've classed here just as employees, but I think better expressed as relationships, and in the context of organizations today, it's everyone who's involved in the business. Employees, contractors, suppliers, they all come together. It is the group which you draw together to deliver. And it is the relationship which you form which becomes quite important. And you can see on the model how motive and purpose begin to be the, what do I call that? The chains which gets everything to drive well. Strong purpose, strong motive, the engine will move well. Your business is nothing more than the sum of all the people who work within and with it. Your business is nothing more than the sum of all the people who work within and with it. Its competitive success is derived from their combined strength and talent being drawn into the business. Engage with them well and your business will be successful. Fail to build trust, breach trust, disengage, and your business will never reach its potential. Many businesses today survive on the basis of people coming into the office, used to come in the office, but coming to work on the basis of, it's a job, I need the job, the pay's not particularly good, but I can't find anything else. What percentage of your workforce sits at that level? You need to move away from that. Relationships are strengthened by engaging human potential. How do you do that? Well, you have a purpose, you don't seek profit. You have habits, you don't create processes. You have motives, you don't have obligation. I build relationships, I build community, I don't have rules, I don't have you work for me. It is about the character which we bring into the organization. It's not about the need and the obligation to be there. And the rule, people are not a cost center. If you view your people as a cost center and you seek to manage that cost, then you're always going to breach trust and you're going to weaken engagement. And you're not going to muster that potential which exists in that entire base of people who work there. People, relationships must be viewed as an asset, the strategic asset to be built. Continuing on the core, the next aspect is vision. So I have my leadership, I'm seeking to grow and develop my leadership, they are engaged with employees, purpose and motive are working well, we're beginning to come together. Vision, what does vision do? Visions are meant to be exciting, enticing and challenging. Visions are meant to inspire. Visions are meant to draw everyone participating in our business and organization together, a common shared goal, a goal which we're all moving forward to. Visions are glue, they bind, and they are energy, they propel forward. Your vision is your quest. Our vision, our quest, a journey I must be part of. It is our future and that of our customers in the making. This is the character of vision. Visions are never expressed with a dollar sign. That's an outcome. That's profit first. It's a profit motive. Visions are always expressed in terms of the impact I can have on the community I seek to serve, The change I can bring about maybe, but the need I can meet. Visions need to be a quest. You want people saying, wouldn't it be absolutely amazing if we can achieve this? How do we do it? Visions inspire. The fifth element in our core competitive strength, is culture. Culture is who your business is, if it were a person. Now, it's their personality as such. It's their traits, it's their attitude, it's their worldview. It's how they go about life. Culture will allow your business to do some things extremely well and others not so well. Culture is crafted to deliver on who you are, who you need to be to compete effectively in your marketplace and to deliver the value to meet the need of your customers, of your community, better than anyone else. Cultures are different for every organization, but they must be crafted, they must be molded, they must be aligned to the purpose you seek to fulfill, the need you seek to fulfill, and therefore who you need to be. Culture is crafted to make your business who it needs to be to succeed. Culture's warning, culture is never about control, it's never about yourself, it's never about somehow keeping others together in some way. It's who you need to be. The 5 elements of the core. Leadership, worthy leadership. Use of purpose and motive to make very clear why we're here and where we're seeking to go and why we're seeking to go there. Relationships, trust, engagement with that employee group, that group of people who allow things to happen. Now I've got my core strength coming together. The vision, the energy, the connection, the glue which takes us all forward, and a culture which makes us who we need to be to deliver on what we want to deliver. This is the core strength of your competitiveness. This is the core which you need to continually build. Part 1 of your competitive engine. Part 2 of your competitive engine is what I've termed as focus. There are 3 elements to it: customer focus, capabilities, and strategy. This focus should reflect and represent your absolute intent. What is it we are seeking to do and why? It is your chosen market, your chosen marketplace. It is the need you're seeking to fulfill. It's expressed by your competitive posture, and I'll come back to that in a minute. The competitive posture which will enable you to deliver the value you need to deliver to win in your marketplace, to fulfill the need and to achieve your vision. It is about customer focus, it's about capability, it's about strategy, it's how you bring all of those together. And when you think about focus, don't think of something which is static. Think certainly in terms of positioning, but it is a dynamic positioning. You can think of orienteering as you're moving your way around, but a better way to express it is I am always positioning myself so I can bring 100 weight down on my competitors' offerings. I can deliver a value which no one else can match. And I am continually evolving and shifting my organization to deliver that value because I know my customers' needs are continually evolving as well. And I am continually evolving the offering. And the space I'm in, no one else can compete with me. So this is the expression of my focus. So if we begin to look at again the 3 elements in that, the 3 agents. First one is customer focus. A focus on your customers requires that they come first in all of your actions and decisions. Their need, their value comes first. Your entire business exists to meet their needs today and into the future. They are today and tomorrow's lifeblood and the compass for your future direction. How are their needs evolving? Failing to place your customers first will allow yourself to be defeated in your chosen marketplace. And remember the language, defeat of you lies in your hands. You can only be defeated if you drop that ball. When you think about customer focus, everything orientates itself to customer needs and delivering the greatest value possible for today and tomorrow. This clashes right against the profit first, profiteering motive in many cases. Because as you begin to make profit first and you begin to lean into what will naturally become profiteering, you're scraping back. How can we save a bit here? How can we take this back out? How can we take the cost out here? How can we lift the pricing up here? How can we pull value back from our customers into our pockets to lift our profit? It is anti-customer focused. No matter how you want to describe or rationalize it, it is anti-customer focused. Whereas under a non-greed practice, what you're basically saying is, if I lean in and I deliver more value than anyone else, then the market strength I will get will compensate me and my profit will be much greater than I'll otherwise achieve. Customers are not a source of profit. They are your reason for existence. I'll say it again. Customers are not a source of profit. They are your reasons for existence. And the next element in focus, the second one, capabilities. While capability will influence how you compete, in other words, what am I good at? Ultimately, that capability must be tailored, crafted, strengthened to enable you to outcompete everyone else in the marketplace. What is the value I seek to deliver? How do I deliver that value better than anyone else? Where is that niche which I can lean into, if you like that language? What are the capabilities I need to build so I can outcompete? So the value I deliver outcompetes everyone else. Your capability must always be compounding and evolving. It can never be what you did yesterday. Capability is not what you do well today or what you did well yesterday. It can only be what you must do well to outcompete all others, which is always forward-looking. So when you think about capability, you align that with your customer focus and the need you're seeking to achieve. And those two together bring you to the third element of focus, which is your strategy, your competitive strategy. Your competitive strategy is an outcome of the customer focus and the capabilities you have built to deliver more customer value than anyone else. You must play the game which plays to your strengths. You must develop that competitive strategy which allows you to bring to the forefront your strengths and allow you to deliver value which others can't. This then becomes a language of competitive posture. How are you going into that marketplace? How are you going to fight? What is going to be your game to bring your strength to the forefront? How can you outcompete everyone else? How can you deliver more customer value than anyone else? It focuses not just on the value you deliver, not just upon your capability, but one of those capabilities is the ability to compete. One of those capabilities is the strength of your competitive engine and the ability to strengthen that competitive engine more. Capability is about becoming who you need to be to win. And what I mean by that is your strategy becomes, what capability do I need to build to win and to outcompete everyone else? Strategy is never about more money. That's an outcome which I can achieve. It's merely an outcome. Strategy is about, who do I need to be to win? What value do I need to do to deliver to win? Where am I taking ourselves to? This is strategy. So your focus is about, what's the customers and what's the need I'm seeking to meet? What are the capabilities I'm matching beside that? How does that articulate into a strategy which is very clear, one which I can achieve and outcompete everyone else? Second set of the competitive engine. The third part of the competitive engine then becomes the fuel, motivation. Fuel provides rewards and ensures that they flow to where they must, and they should be directed to not just to reward people, but to energize the competitive strength of your entire business. And it consists of the barriers and it consists of the rewards. And as you think about fuel, what I would say is you're thinking about equity and reward to encourage and recognize contribution from everyone, and the right contribution and the contribution they have made. This is where fuel comes to. First part of fuel, strange enough, is the barriers. Pride, self-interest, politics, paradigms, managerial frames, bureaucracy, they're all examples of things which form a barrier. They prevent the business from becoming all that it can be. They form barriers to growth, they form barriers to success, they form barriers to contribution. They tend to hold people down and control and put them in their boxes, so to say, which is the opposite to releasing potential. Whenever you see a barrier, it must be removed. Many barriers come about through profit first motive. Many barriers come about because we just do not understand what actually motivates and inspires and the potential which exists, and we just seek to control and command. You want to create an unrestricted pathway to success. You want to create an unrestricted pathway to contribution, to participation. You want the ideas flowing, you want the contribution occurring. Build the attributes that support achievement, growth, competitiveness, remove all the barriers that block potential. And unfortunately, profit can often be the seed of many of the barriers which we create. While we're seeking to achieve profit, we're actually creating barriers which stop profit from being earned. Remove barriers which stop participation and contribution. The first part of the fuel. Second part of the fuel is about the rewards. The fuel of any business is its rewards program. It feeds the needs of the people who work within and with your business, and their needs extend well beyond financial. Belonging, contribution, achievement, growth, self-worth, sense of contribution, doing something worthwhile, being able to participate, being recognized for my participation. They're just a few of the needs that can far outweigh the dollars. Rewards are the fuel, they feed energy, commitment, contribution, and they have to be at all levels. It has to be aligned to purpose, and it has to be aligned to the competitive engine and building the strength of that engine. They must be equally available to everyone for their efforts, for their contribution, for their participation. They must uplift the good, they must block the bad. Warning, no one should profiteer from the efforts of others. No one should profiteer from the efforts of others. Very challenging statement. So that's your fuel, barriers and rewards. So there's our competitive engine in a snapshot. It's complex and simple. You can look at this and you can simply say, oh yeah, well, we do all these things. But I can guarantee you, you don't. And you don't do them in a way which allows them to come together as an integrated whole to lift potential up. Again, the core comes back to core competitive strength. The strength of my business is the combined talent and effort of everyone involved in my business. I want that coming to the forefront. I don't want it blocked. I don't want it controlled. I want it directed, but I don't want it stifled. It consists of three parts. There is the core, the 5 elements in that: leadership, motive and purpose, relationships with employees and others, vision and culture, the focus, your customers and their needs, the capabilities which I bring to those, and the competitive strategy which emerges from that, and the fuel, the rewards which I offer and the barriers which I create to stop people from getting them, which happens too often. So the way the engine comes together is you start at the core, you begin to articulate more clearly that focus, and you begin to energize the rewards. It is a continuing process, and as we step forward in the subsequent chapters, I'll talk about that a bit more. Coming up on the screen is this manifesto, which I touched on in chapter 1. Just wanted to read through that again and see how it begins to sort of connect with you. The why. Businesses must exist for something more than just making profit. They should exist for a clear purpose, and that purpose must be to meet the needs of a community of customers. If they do that well, profit will be a natural outcome. Profit. Profit is critical to the continuing success of any business and its ability to meet the future needs of a community. But a profit-first motive seeds self-interest, politics, and short-termism. It undermines performance and potential. Do not work for a business which pursues profit ahead of the performance. Businesses are made to compete. They compete around the value they deliver to their customers of today and tomorrow. And to compete to their greatest potential, they lift their people to the forefront. They are led by worthy leaders, leaders who place the community, their people and their businesses all before themselves. What does this lead to? The best at their best. Businesses that know how to compete create the products and the markets of the future and are always taking the value delivered to the community of customers to a new level. They are businesses that attract the best who work with their best at their best. The practice of non-greed is bringing our life to this. It is understanding the essentials that underpin the competitiveness, the performance of your business. Leadership, cause, trust. The right strategy and the right motivation or rewards. These are the underlying elements which will lift the performance up. Greed blocks these elements. It stifles, it neutralises, it compresses them, it disperses them, it does not allow them to come forward. The practice of non-greed allows you to focus on your competitive engine and to energize in a way which lifts that hidden, that real potential which is in your organization to the forefront, which will drive the value and profits of your business and the impact it has in its community. Practice non-greed is the message, because the practice of non-greed will allow you to achieve a lot more than what you can otherwise achieve. I hope Chapter 2 has given you a few more insights into the practice of non-greed. As we go forward, we'll begin to dig into each one of these elements, looking at each set and looking at each of the individual elements in a lot more detail to draw out what I refer to as the right character. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your participation. And I wish you all the best.
Hi everyone, it's Sally here. I work with Richard. You will see coming up on the next 3 slides. Firstly, a URL link if you are interested in purchasing Richard's Guide to the Competitive Engine, titled Compete, which is a 274-page full-color guide in either printed or a digital PDF format, or both if you wish. Secondly, a URL link to Richard's library of some 500 articles on the various elements of the competitive engine and more that you can access freely. And thirdly, there is an email address for any questions you may have. These are great resources, and I commend them to you. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and I hope to see you again soon.